Today we are going to be discussing the educational system in Nigeria, what government has done so far, what are the issues that are rising in education, and what individuals and organizations, private especially, can do to improve the educational system in Nigeria. Enough of us complaining and saying it's poor, government is not doing this, government is not doing that. What can we do as individuals? How can we give back to education? What are the little things we can do to improve the educational system in Nigeria? Join me in the studio.
Okay, right now we have a guest in the studio. Maybe that's why we're so happy.
Yes, we do. Hello.
With us is okay, just introduce yourself.
I'm sure they can guess that it's a guy. The way we are
This is so embarrassing.
And a very fine guy at that.
Exactly. Look at how he's hyping himself.
I don't know.
Hello everyone, my name is Jide Olatunbode and I'm very glad and happy to be on the show.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Very much.
So Jide is with us today because we're talking about something very dear to his heart. Talking about education in Nigeria, the educational system in Nigeria. We're talking about how it has grown, how individuals like him, you and I are supporting and improving the quality of education in Nigeria. So before we go on, I'd just like us to understand what exactly is the scope of the educational system. When we say education in Nigeria, people tend to talk about the issues, the stakeholders, and all of the challenges within tertiary education. We talk about universities, talk about polytechnics and colleges of education, but is that all that the educational system is all about? Where does it start from, really?
I think it starts from the moment when your kid goes into school, right? The first school your kid goes to, which is probably a creche or a kindergarten, depending, right? And it goes through the primary school, the secondary school, and don't forget we're talking about public and private, and then it goes into the tertiary industry. So the broad spectrum. And let's also forget the lesson teachers that come to teach in school, at home, rather, right? That's another critical and interesting part of this broad spectrum of the educational system in Nigeria.
Did he say secondary school? So really secondary school, and that's also the boarding schools, the day schools, all of that, the summer schools, all of those things.
Boys schools, etc.
Yeah, it's really
Even the lessons, outside extracurricular.
Yeah, all the summer programs, dance programs, and I think there's also one interesting part where I don't know. I think I also developed a lot. The clubs and societies, the debating societies of this world. Yes, Jets, Brownie, Boy Scout, everything.
And then going from school to do a debate. And
Yes,
then having to come back and say, yes, our school is better than
and then
yours.
cramming and confusing, not confusing.
I am here to convince you today. My name is Taiwa Odemila, and I'm here to convince you that Girlfriends on Radio is better than.
How have primary schools grown in the past 20 years? Primary, secondary schools, universities. How have we grown?
I wouldn't say, well, I think it's relative, really. You've seen that there are now more schools, more private people or more individuals are involved in education now, as against when it was more of a public thing, right? But I would say that there are now more private schools that are really good but quite expensive. We're talking about that before we came up, and then but I won't say the public schools are better now. I would say they are worse. Well, from in my own opinion, I don't know if I'm very right. If I went to Federal Government Girls College, right, and when I talk to people who have their kids there now, the impression I get is that it's worse off. It's no more handled as effectively as it was then. It has been privatized, and people who have taken it's not fully privatized. So because of that, the handling of the school altogether, it's not as good, as effective, and as good as it was for us when we were there. And even when we were there, although it was really good, but it could have been better. So you can imagine that even being worse now.
You know, we're actually going to be talking about what individuals are doing. And when I say individuals, I mean private, you and I, institutions, religious organizations, and all of that. But just listening to you, is it possible in any way that the influx of private hands, or people who basically look at it as a business, is there any way that you think that may have impacted the quality of education in public schools?
Okay, so when you first started, you said something about people talking more about the universities than the secondary schools. But I beg to differ in the sense that you have a lot of conversations now going on about private schools, especially in Lagos, and other urban cities in Nigeria. And the conversation is about how expensive it is to
So when you're
take
talking about
your
private
school,
schools, you mean primary school,
private primary and
school.
secondary schools,
Okay.
yeah, and secondary schools. So I'm not going to even go into the tertiary institution right now, because that's a whole lot of that's another sector all by itself. But for the primary and the secondary schools, it's privatized, and the conversation is, I want to get my kids into the schools because of the quality of education. Because many public schools now, you don't even need to even be in the system, just passing them
by.
It's obvious that the standard of education in those systems have fallen. Like I'm going to bring this up later, but I'm involved in a sort of educational
venture,
outreach, more of an outreach, and it happens in public schools. And if you have kids, you have a 4-year-old daughter, right, and you take her to a private school, and when she comes back, some of the things you hear her say, you're like, who is teaching you this? I didn't say these things when I was young. But take someone in the primary school who is like 6-10 years older than your daughter, and they cannot even pronounce the words that are coming from her mouth, neither can they make sentences, and they have been in school from day one. So you don't need to be in the system to know that the public educational system, in terms of the way the teachers, the syllabus and all those things, it's not working. And so the conversation is, how do I get my children into private schools, so that they have a chance, they stand a chance of being able to meet up with their peers when it comes to the educational standard. But the problem is the high cost. And then so because it's privatized, there's not going to be any subsidization for individuals, because it's your business, so people are stuck in between going to a public school or a very expensive private school. The middle, I'm not really sure if there's any middle anymore, because you're either public or private, and the private guys really want to start taking advantage of the market, in sense that the market is expensive, so let's all make it expensive. So I was talking to a friend the other day, and she was telling me that just taking her son to to primary or crèche or whatever, I don't know, he's 5 years old, so I don't know.
Nursery.
Maybe nursery,
primary one maybe.
And she was telling me the pain of paying school fees. She was like, you could see the pain. 500,000 naira for a term, 1 term, and I know there are 3 terms, So if you're doing 500,000 naira for 1 term, and there are 3 terms in a year, and that child is in nursery 1, is going all the way to primary 6, secondary school,
and it gets more expensive.
You can begin to understand, So let me keep quiet at this point.
I think on the little bright side, right?
Please.
There's
Let's give us some a ray of hope.
Let's give a little ray of sunshine. I think the middle range of private schools that are affordable are starting to come up. Right, so they are really small. I know a couple, right? And typically there's a long waiting list of people who wanted to get into the school because they are very good quality and they are pretty much affordable.
What do you love doing? You love film. How much would you be paid to sit down in a school and teach young people how to make short films or to do anything literally? Like there's many things that we do. We don't even have film. Well, we had poetry. We had some literary in English.
We had some economics now. How to sew.
We had. But you know the truth is, I was asking you because I feel like the cost of getting the quality of teachers, because when I asked, like I go when I was going shopping for a school, I wanted to know how much the teachers were getting paid, because if I put my child in a school where the teacher goes home with 20,000 naira a month.
Yeah,
I know the level of concentration that person can give my child. It can't be optimal. The person has to feed their own children. The person has to make ends meet. So you want to consider the fact that, okay, yeah, they are powering the schools. They have some of them have swimming pools. They have large classes. The classes are air conditioned. The children go on different excursions. They have to power those buses. So all of this cost. It's almost like it's becoming more and more expensive to run a good school. I hear of schools in this category where teachers now earn 300, 400,000 naira, and these are you need to have a teaching degree, or a master's in teaching, because they know that there is a return on that investment. They need to be able to pay those teachers well, so they need to task with the parents to be able to afford the
I'm thinking about what you're saying, and it just occurred to me that you have privatized school and you have privatized schools. So there are some schools that are very expensive, but the output is nonsense. There are some schools that are not that expensive, like you said, the middle range schools, and their output is nonsense. So they are privatized schools, and just because your child is going to a privatized school doesn't mean that you're going to get the best.
No.
Because I have heard of many schools in the hinterlands of Lagos that are privatized, but when you go there, you know that there's no way your child is going to get the best. They're just in there for the business, and they don't even pay their teachers that much.
Yeah, you want to know where the money is going. The money may just be going into the facilities and all of that.
And those ones don't have a choice. They don't want to work in a public school, so they just feel, let me just stay here. So I really feel like, in terms of structure, in terms of how do we even begin to rate the teachers and rate the educational system, I don't know what's in place, so I'm not going to speak to that, but I don't know if there's something, I don't know if you can speak to it, Jide, but I don't know if there's like an organization or an agency that really goes to these schools and says,
quality.
you know what, the
like
quality,
the standard.
the standard, yes.
So Jide, before we went on the break, we're talking about how we're going to talk about how individuals like you and I are creatively supporting the system in Nigeria, educational system in Nigeria, to provide a higher quality than even what we had, and probably in some way help the government, or in our own little way contribute to make sure that we are raising the next generation sound.
Yeah, it talks about how much the government is not playing very well in this sector, in terms of funding, in terms of curriculum, etc., etc. So let's put that aside, right? So we both agree that let's just say, what are we doing? What can we do? Right? And a couple of things. First of all, we started from this show by making noise about it, which is very good. So Ngozi, thank you very, very much, right, for bringing this up. I think it's a very good way to spotlight the issues, right, and how we can help. Secondly, I think some students need mentoring, and that's where stuff like the work that I think comes in. Right?
Edu-Aid, global initiative.
Exactly. So it helps the students to understand that even though I'm sitting down on the floor because my state cannot afford a chair for me, right? There's probably somewhere I can be in the next 5-10 years with the right mentor, with the right thinking and foresight, right? Good. I think we can also adopt schools, right? Because it's typically we are, and I thank God for our kind of culture, we are not individualistic, right?
Yeah.
We have the kind of power kind of way, right?
Communal.
Community living, exactly.
Yeah.
Good. So it's easy to say, adopt a school beside you, a public school. You'll be shocked how much a blackboard, right, or a set of chairs will go a long way in improving the standard of education of these kids, right? So adopting a school is a very good one. Now for the parents, two things, and I hope I'm not talking too much. Right?
No, go ahead.
Good. For the parents, first of all, I think parents can contribute by being more interested in the grades or in the education of their wards, right? Because some parents abdicate that responsibility to the school, right, or to the teachers. Right? So I've given you my kids, take care of my kids. My kids should, I paid 500,000, right? So if my kid comes out bottom of the class, why did my kid come out bottom of the class?
Time we're also going to talk about how missionary organizations, churches, or other non-profit organizations are also contributing.
Yeah, so I know of the one that I'm directly involved with. It's an initiative of Covenant Christian Center, and it's called Edu-Aid global initiative, so what we do is we go to public schools, specified public schools, where we mentor and teach them phonetics. And so it's divided into it's structured, so you have a proper structure program where some teachers are divided. So you find students who are weak in some subject areas, and you really don't know why they are weak in these areas, and so you want to find out what's going on in their lives. So you pair them one-on-one, so a female teacher or a female mentor to a female mentee. And so what you do is you talk to them every week for 1 hour just to find out what's going on in their minds, how you can help them. And then there's another, so these are the things that are going on, and I think that's really, really helping those children because they look forward to our time with them. Like, that's the highlights of their week, and you can see the improvements.
Now, Jide, what is ACIT?
Good. So, ACIT is the book I wrote that talks about academic excellence, right? I finished from reading a couple of years ago with the first class in computer science.
Absolutely, say it again.
Yeah. Good. So I noticed while I was in school how some people succeeded and others didn't, right?
Okay.
And it wasn't because they worked harder than the rest of them. There were some things that they were doing consciously and unconsciously that was different from others and made them succeed. And I asked questions. I did a little bit of research across multiple universities, and I came up with some secrets. I call them secrets.
Okay.
Like 6 or 7 of them, and I put them in a book called ACIT. Right. So that's exactly what it's about. And it's really impactful. People who are in school that have read it have come back to me and said, Jide, this has really, really touched me and touched me in my place. People who have left school and read it, Jide, why did you bring this book while I was still in school?
And before we go,
yeah. Oh, okay. One last one. I really don't know what to say. I just really hope that many people will get more involved in the educational system. And if it's just as easy as teaching your neighbor some mathematics or English that he doesn't know, let's not just keep saying what's it called, government.
Okay.
Well, like Tyrus said, do our little bit to give back to education in Nigeria. Help our friends, help our neighbors, help our siblings, I always talk about charity beginning at some right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say that that's what I've learned too as well as a parent, really get more involved, and let your children also know that it's good to get good grades.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel, Girlfriends on Radio, and of course like our Facebook page, Girlfriends on Radio. Till next week, same time.
Bye.
Au revoir.
Bye.